Hello, guys, and welcome to the Marigold Standard, your weekly audio source of all things Dream Star Fighting Marigold. I'm your host, Rob Goodwin. I am joined, as ever, by the Vivid Honey Mustard. It is Mr. Matt Turner. Matt Turner, how are you, good sir?
Rob, I'm really good. All things considered. Something happened last night. I didn't think would ever happen. Kind of feel bad about it.
What Jurassic Park 2?
I'm going to use this time to kind of get it off my chest and talk to you. Not only do we have this fancy podcast together, but I consider you a really good friend, and I think this might be the proper time and place to kind of get it off my chest. But last night, I did something that I didn't think I'd ever have to do. I banned somebody from ever coming on the podcast. Lifetime ban. Whether it's the Marigold Standard, whether it's the Stardom Cast, or whether it's Talk Joshi. Yes, unfortunately, the Tokyo Joshi Pod Zone, Andy Zyke, has a lifetime ban. Never be allowed on the show ever again. Felt really bad about it.
No, you did not. You lie. No, you did not feel bad about it.
So the long story short is that for a Patreon episode, I did text him. I said, hey, we're doing this new segment on World of Joshi Patreon. We're getting to some more Tokyo Joshi Pro. And obviously we use his podcast as a guide. He is the Rob Goodwin and Matt Turner of Tokyo Joshi Pro. He knows his stuff. And definitely give his podcast a listen free plug for the guy who's banned from ever being on the show ever again, the Tokyo Joshi Pod. And he said, you need to watch this match where they're on the train. It's like, okay. So last night, as of this recording, myself and Andy Header were going to do alternate commentary to this match that's on a train. Now, Rob, the train is moving, and there's 8 people in this match. It's an 8-person tag on a train. Train is moving. The ring announcer's there. There's a ref there. I needed, obviously, my tag partner, Andy Header, to do this with. And I needed 2 drinks. I had 2 vodka and orange juices as well. That helped me get through this match. When I loaded up this clip, it was 1 hour and 27 minutes. And I'm like, how? So, before we recorded, Andy Header, not Andy Zyke, as you know, and he does a lot of the editing for all the Patreon episodes. He goes, what tier are we putting this on? I was like, yeah, we're putting this on the $1 tier. We got to charge $1 for this. Bless us. We made sense of it. We made psychology out of it. There was certain points that we did have to fast forward because it was going way too long. Like nothing was really happening outside of Aja Kong grabbing people's phones to take pictures of the sites that they were seeing. Minoru Suzuki made a run in full gear to check people's tickets. So he was in gear. I'm like, what's he doing? Full gear. The short shorts, the shooter boots, just to make sure people had tickets. We were trying to figure out, if you go to this show, do you pay for 2 tickets, a ticket for the train and a ticket to see the match? We needed to figure this out. So after a few drinks and about 1 hour of this podcast, and again, I apologize, there were certain parts, and we time queued it, certain parts we just had to fast forward through, that text Andy Zyke, and I said, hey, buddy, we just watched the train match. He said, oh, I can't wait to hear the star rating. Text him back. I said, hey, did you ever see Animal House? He said, yeah, a long time ago. And I sent him the gift of the Dean giving John Belushi his grade point average, which, if you remember, is 0.0. Mr. Blutowski, 0.0. And I said, buddy, I think you're banned from ever coming on the show ever again. He said, I have to find a way to win you back. Rob, I had tough time sleeping. I woke up this morning. I just felt so bad about it because I really like Andy. However, Andy Zyke, not Andy Header. However, we need to protect the integrity of the podcast. So like, I can't have this guy.
The integrity of the podcast went out the window. The moment Stardom put on that Halloween show, the integrity of the podcast was gone.
No, I think it was once you hired me back in 2021. But anywho, So Andy Zyke did text me. And it is Valentine's Day weekend, and he did send me some Valentines, Rob Goodwin, to try to get back in my good graces.
Okay.
Now, Rob, I'm going to read you what these. I will send you later so you can use them how you see fit. Now, they are from RishuramAg.com, who I have actually done some writing work before. Really great people over there. And I'm not going to read you all of them because there's a lot of them here. The first one is You Micah Me Crazy, and I'm sure you know who. We have one with B. Priestley that says, "Won't you be mine?"
Lovely. Yeah. Okay.
We have O2 line, just the O2 of us. We can make it if we try.
I'm using all of these on Kirsty on Saturday. Every single one throughout the day.
I have one that I send to Amber every year that I can't tell. I think I've showed it to you before. I can't say what it says on air, but I'll send that one to you later. It's one I send to Amber it's R-rated. Anywho, all the members of Hate, I hate how much I love you. One with
Nice.
Saya Kamatani, you're the only queen for me. These ones are great. I think you're super fly, Mayu Otani. Let's go to dinner with me, Chikagoto. Misa Matsui, I miss you so much.
I love that one. That's great.
Probably my favorite one. This is Ras Yogawa. Let's run away and start a new promotion together. No, that's probably maybe I should end it with that one. But Rob, now we're gonna go. Now they're broken down, and I hope I'm saying that right. Rishura Mag. They broke it down to Stardom, Marigold, and Tokyo Joshi Pro. So now we're getting the Tokyo Joshi Pro ones. Miyu Watanabe, you make my heart spin. Arisa Endo, I'm yours into the Endo.
Yeah, nice.
Suzumi, I want to be with you.
Yeah.
And then we'll end it with you lift me up girl with a picture of the up girls. So
brilliant.
There's some other there's some marvelous stuff on here. Cerise on here, May Saruga. You're right. Oh, the Great Sequoia and Mayu. I missed you, and I'm sure we'll get into the Mayu. So I'm actually going to send you this link, Rob, right now. So this way you have all of them. And you'll see when you get the text, the cover of this text are the cover of the website. This part of the website is the wedding photo of Shingo Takagi and Natsupoi. So Rob Goodwin, you know me, I'm a softie. I'm a very forgiving person. So the lifetime ban from Andy Zyke, the lifetime ban from Andy Zyke is off. Andy Zyke is welcome back on the podcast. He'll more than likely be on the podcast in about a month's time to do our giant preview of Tokyo Joshi Pro Grand Princess. So Andy Zyke, when I was like, his lifetime ban that lasted about 10 hours, buddy.
Oh my God, that was incredible. Yeah, you are the softest touch in the world. Just send him some wrestling related Valentines and immediately. I'll just keep periodically reminding you of that train match and just watch you get angrier and angrier and angrier until you text Andy Zyke again.
I did tell him, like, when I told him, I said, I don't think you come on the show again. He's like, I'm gonna have to win you over. We were talking back and forth. I'm like, I knew what I was getting into. I knew I wasn't getting Misawa versus Kawada from Nippon Budokan. Like, I knew what I was getting into. But me and Andy had like, there's a point where Riku uses a pillow, and I'm like, that's an illegal object. Why aren't we calling for the bell? Why aren't we calling for the bell?
The entire rig is an illegal object.
Rob, they did legal tags, and I popped huge. Because they're on 4 people on one part, and we're like, are there going to be like legal tags in here? And there were legal tags, and they were doing like old school psychology where they put the person in the headlock and they would drag him to the other part of the train. As Andy Header called it perfectly. This is why you should spend your $1 to listen to the commentary on it. Andy Header called it perfectly. They're cutting the train off. So then they would tag that way, and Yuki Arai was the MVP. Yuki Arai is taking bumps in this train. I'm like, she wins the Princess of Princess Championship on Grand Princess at the end of next month. I understand why, because she's like taking bumps. The only one taking bumps on this train.
I think we've already spent far too much time on this podcast talking about stuff that's not Marigold, but I am a huge fan of your very in-depth hatred of this specific match. So can't wait to check that out. When's that coming out?
That'll come out, I believe, on Sunday. I think myself and Andy are going to drop it on Sunday. My whole premise was just to read you the Valentines that Andy Zyke sent me. And in all seriousness, Andy Zyke is a great guy, and he literally knows his stuff when it comes to. I know this isn't a Tokyo Joshi Pro podcast, but if you're looking to get into Tokyo Joshi Pro, or you're already watching some of the stuff, definitely give a listen to the Tokyo Joshi pod, and look out for some fancy Valentines coming your way, folks.
Might use one as the cover art for this podcast. Who knows? Apart from that, Matt, apart from your incredible interaction with Andy Zyke, how have you been, good sir?
Great as always, buddy. No sense of complaining. Warmer weather finally on its way. Valentine's Day weekend coming up. Valentine's Day is Saturday, but myself and Amber are going out Friday, tomorrow as we record, going to some hibachi place not too far away from where we live. So that'll be nice. Loaded. The weekend of Joshi Pure Wrestling is loaded. Obviously, we'll talk about the two Stardom shows coming up this weekend. We do have a Korakuen Hall show tomorrow for Stardom, and of course, we have the finals of the Max Heart tournament for Tokyo Joshi Pro. So a lot of really great stuff on tap this weekend. Monday, I'm off work as it is President's Day here in the United States, and I do have an interview scheduled with J-Rod for Monday. Obviously, card subject to change, but I locked that in, and a lot of really cool stuff along the pike, buddy. But I can't complain. Things are really, really well. I know you played football this past Wednesday, and you said you did better this week than you were last week. But you did say you set the bar really, really low to the point where you had to dig to get the bar even lower. But you're laughing. You're all in one piece. But how's everything else? You feeling pretty good though?
Yeah, I mean, Newcastle won live on the Stardom Cast, which is always good fun. I didn't play any worse. I think I think I've bottomed out, which is always good. But yes, I'm doing very, very well. I believe me and Kirsty are going for an Indian on Saturday, so that should be nice. We actually live just around the corner from a very, very tasty Indian restaurant, and we never go. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that on Saturday. So I hope you have a lovely time. What is hibachi? You said that with such just everyone knows what hibachi is. What is hibachi?
Oh, you don't know? It's when they it's like a Japanese restaurant where they cook everything in front of you. They do the fancy tricks. They shoot the sake in your mouth. They throw the shrimp in your mouth. Like they do a show. You've never seen this?
Oh yes, no, I do know this. Did not know it was called hibachi, but yes, I do know that now. Yes.
Yeah, that's what we're going. It's the same restaurant we went to for Amber's surprise 40th birthday party. I don't think we've been there since. Well, we really enjoyed it. We said we need to go back, and we just never did. So that's where we're going. So I hope you and Kirsty have a lovely time having some Indian food, my friend, and then we'll compare notes and Valentine's next week, buddy.
Absolutely. Because genuinely, do you know what? Do you know what's really good for someone who gets really full really quickly and then can't play sport? An Indian just before he goes and plays football. So that's going to be nice and fun for me running around the pitch on Sunday.
I cannot wait to text you on Sunday night, Monday morning. I can't wait.
I'm going to be dying. Absolutely dying. So today on this episode of the Marigold Standard, just a couple of bits of news. Obviously, Mayu Iwatani defending the GHC Women's Championship on Monday Magic this week. We also have news on an injury and the cards for the upcoming shows on the 14th and 15th. 13th, 14th, and 15th, actually, because they have announced the card for Shinjuku Face as well today, as you're listening to this, but tomorrow as we are recording. So we'll talk about that. And of course, we have the two shows from the 7th and the 8th to talk about. The semifinals are officially set for the 3D Trios Championship tournament. And Matt Turner, I actually have an apology before we get into the news itself, because, sir, I mocked you. Sir, I mocked you relentlessly for your choice of Victor in the tournament, partly because you chose Megaton, which is still ridiculous, but I mocked you, and that is unacceptable. And then I did it again, which is also unacceptable. And then had the audacity to proclaim that obviously Utami Aishishita, Chikagoto, and Chanyota were absolutely going to be your first 3D Trios champions. And of course, never trust a Rob Goodwin booking. Never, ever, ever trust a Rob Goodwin booking, because they were unceremoniously dumped out in the first round. So again, what the hell do we know, Matt Turner?
You know, it's kind of funny. There's 8 teams in this tournament, and me and you picked 2 different teams.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a pretty decent shot to go far. And we have watched, noted in podcasts in one way or another every single match in Marigold's almost 2-year history. So you figured like one of us would at least get maybe to the finals. No, we both got bounced in the first round.
Absolutely.
And we own that.
Catastrophic stuff, Matt.
And we own that. You know why, Rob? We were really good at losing because as your dad told you, and then you told me about 6 months ago on this podcast, somebody has to be on the bottom to lift everybody up. My friend.
Exactly.
And that is us.
Exactly.
So we do that with pride and joy, good sir.
What does it tell you about my sporting accomplishments that my dad had to come up with a saying about losing?
To make you feel better. What a dad he is.
What a guy. What a guy. Let's talk then first about Mayu Iwatani's latest defense of the GHC Women's Championship. She defended it against the great Sequoia on Monday Magic on the 9th of February in Shinjuku Face. Defended successfully, hitting a moonsault after 14 minutes and 15 seconds. Matt, lots of sticky stuff here, which worked really well in the context of the match. Obviously, Great Sequoia is a character above all else. Mayu delved straight into that. Absolutely loved it. Of course, there was that very gifable moment, which we all saw online, of Mayu Iwatani stealing the mist out of Great Sequoia's mouth and then spitting it at her. Don't know if anyone noticed, but Mayu spectacularly missed Great Sequoia's face with the mist, spat above and below the face. I don't think got any on Great Sequoia's face, which made me laugh. But great visual of Mayu holding that belt up after she's hit the moonsault with the green mist in her teeth. Actually gave an interesting backstage promo as well. I don't know if you saw this, Matt, where she was talking about how fun it was to be a heel. Obviously, we categorically didn't believe that Saya Kamatani was going to be turning heel. I think, obviously, we have just said about how terrible it is to believe a Rob Goodwin booking, but I think it's safe to say that you ain't turning Mayu Iwatani heel, even if she had a lot of fun engaging in that sort of stuff with Great Sequoia.
Well, that she kind of out-healed the heel here, so that it was kind of fun. It was a really solid match. Yeah, Great Sequoia was she has her shtick, and her shtick worked really well in this match with Mayu. So you had a little bit of shtick, you had a little bit of comedy, but then when they ramped it up, at the end of the day, it's the main event match in Shinjuku Face. It's for a prestigious championship, the Noah Joshi Championship. So they made it a really good match. So they were able to blend a whole bunch of stuff into this match. In the finish, I mean, we've seen so many Mayu's matches. I mean, there's nobody in Joshi that's wrestled more than Mayu over the last 10, 12 years. So we've seen her in all sorts of matches, different ending. Like she never did that with Kagetsu or Tora or anything like that. So I liked how they made it something different. I obviously didn't see this live because I think this match was like 5 a.m. Monday, my time. My body was still beat up from all those pizzas I made for the Super Bowl the day before. But I did see it was all over the internet. I'm like, wow, that's really interesting. That's really interesting. So I thought it was a really solid match. Another great Mayu Iwatani match. Shockingly, wow, Mayu's having great matches. Who would have thought? Right, again, the finish was really something different from out of the Mayu playbook, which I enjoyed. I had the match at 4 stars. I thoroughly enjoyed it. More Mayu championship matches on Monday Magic, please, because this just worked, and it's a great way to start your week with these Monday Magics. And then if Marvelous goes back to the Friday night gotchas that they did in the summer and the fall, it's a really great way to kind of bookend the week because we just need more great wrestling, Rob, because there's only 8 great Joshi shows this weekend, but we need something on a Monday and a Friday as well.
We have, of course, got that Universe Mix 6-woman tag coming up as well, which I believe is the start of March. So that's going to be 9th,
I think,
I think you're right. Which I believe is also the start of the Universe Cup as well, which they announced the competitors for. So that's exciting. Can't wait to see that. Obviously, just a reminder that you've got 1 member of Sendai Girls, 1 member of Marigold, and 1 member of Marvelous against a member of Marigold, a member of Marvelous, and a member of Sendai Girls. So there's going to be some really interesting partnerships being constructed there. So looking forward to that as well. I believe this was the last show of the current crop of Monday Magics. So I think we might, again, if Marvelous goes back to the Friday gotchas, hopefully they will be coming up soon. Just a quick little update then. So Seri Yamaoka was pulled from the show on the 8th. She was initially supposed to be teaming with Victoria Yuzuki against Olivia Rose and Sarah Sivan, and unfortunately, apparently picked up an injury in her match with Marie Malenko. And that, of course, meant that she was unable to compete on the show on the 8th. She was ultimately replaced with Komomo Minami, with the 3-way she was originally a part of just being made a singles match. Obviously, we wish Seri Yamaoka nothing but the best. There didn't seem to be anything that immediately jumped out that sort of made me think, oh, she's got an injury there, Matt.
Rob, I'll be honest with you, I didn't know she was injured until you told me before we hit the record button. I didn't. I maybe I need to go on worldofjoshi.com a little bit more to get all my insider news. Yeah, they wrestled to a 15-minute time limit draw. Obviously, we'll talk about it. I thoroughly enjoyed the match. It was the technical match that we thought we would see. But yeah, nothing really there. Maybe it was something that she kind of was going in not 100%. It might have been something that kind of maybe bothered her a little, and taking some time off to heal the injury before it gets even worse. So yeah, obviously we wish Sari nothing but the best, and hopefully she comes back sooner than later.
Yeah, and just looking at the announcements, which actually we're going to get into now for the shows on the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th, Sari Yamaoka has been announced for those shows. So again, at the moment, fingers crossed, everything seems okay, and it seems to be more precautionary than anything else. But obviously, the show in Shinjuku faces live tomorrow on Wrestle Universe. I imagine if she's not on this run of 3 shows, we'll hear something in the next couple of hours. Knowing us, the moment we finish recording, it'll come up. But there we are. As I've mentioned, then Marigold have got a run of 3 shows this weekend: the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th. They've announced the full cards for all 3 of these shows. Start with the 13th then, which is tomorrow again as we record, and today if you're listening. We have the Hummingbird versus Chiaki singles match, Shoko Kashino versus Nagisa Takibana, Naoya Ishikawa versus Megaton, Natsumi Shozuki and Mai Sakurai, which they are really cementing as a team. So I'm very excited about that. They'll be taking on Sari Yamaoka and Yuki Yamazaki. Utami and Chikagoto versus Koki Amare and Miko Ueno. And then your first 3D Trios tournament semi-final match, Mayu Utami, Victoria Yuzuki, and Komomo Minami taking on the Darkness Revolution team of Misa Matsui, Ria Sato, and Nagisa Nozaki. Matt, something else quite interesting about my predictions. I'm 99% sure that on the last Marigold Standard, I also tipped the foreign team to beat Mayu Utami, Victoria Yuzuki, and Komomo Minami. So I'm 0 for 2 so far on the Trios tournament, because of course I am. Just before I ask for your opinions, we've also got a show, as I mentioned, on the 14th from the Korea City Hall in Aichi. That card looks as follows: Natsumi Shozuki versus Ria Sato versus Shoko Kashino, Nagisa Nozaki versus Yuki Yamazaki, Miko Ueno and Megaton versus Misa Matsui and Chiaki, Utami Hayashishita, Naoya Ishikawa, and Nagisa Takibana versus Mai Sakurai, Sari Yamaoka, and Shino. And then in what is currently slated to be a main event anyway, Mayu Utami, Victoria Yuzuki, and Komomo Minami versus Chikagoto, Koki Amare, and Hummingbird. On the 15th, then, when Marigold will be in the 176 box, Osaka, we have the final 3D Trios Championship Tournament semi-final. I don't want to say hot favorites because that means they'll get eliminated, but a team that I heavily fancied, Mai Sakurai, Natsumi Shozuki, and Arina Yamanaka, will be taking on Sari Yamaoka, Shoko Kashino, and Yuki Yamazaki. Also on that card, Naoya Ishikawa versus Komomo Minami, Misa Matsui versus Hummingbird, Megaton versus Nagisa Nozaki. We've got Mayu Utami and Victoria Yuzuki versus Chiaki and Ria Sato, and then Miko Ueno, Koki Amare, and Shino versus Utami Hayashishita, Chikagoto, and Nagisa Takibana. So we've got Arina Yamanaka on the Osaka show. We also have the return of Shino on the 14th and the 15th as well, Matt. So I daren't ask you who you think is going to be the final of this 3D Trios tournament, because you will give 2 teams, and I could almost guarantee that it will be the opposite 2 teams at this point.
Well, I mean, let's get at it. Maybe we'll get one right. As I always say, even a broken clock is right twice a day, buddy.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to give you what my finals and my overall win is going to be, and let's see if you agree with it. So that'll either mean you double down on it, or one of us is bound to get something right here.
Okay, so I'll go for whatever the opposite is of what you've said.
That's
one of us is right. Okay, cool. Yeah, sure.
I'm going to go with Sakurai, Natsumi, and Arina to go to the finals against Team Mayu. And I'm going to say the ladyship takes the whole tournament. So that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say
I'll be so annoyed if they come up with a different name.
We're just going to call them the ladyship. That's we came up with it. We came with it about a year ago.
I know. It was literally at the start of the podcast, them and King's Journey.
Right when Darkness started, we're like, well, we're going to get babyface factions, and we haven't. Well, technically they haven't, but here on the Marigold Standard, We give you what you don't want. That is random
Absolutely.
fact
We
shenanigans.
entertain ourselves and nobody else. It's great. I do think that Mai Sakurai, Natsumi Shizuki, and Arena will go through here. I think the chances are, and again, I know nothing, Jon Snow. I think that Darkness Revolution beat Mayu, Victoria Yuzuki, and Komomo Minami. I think Misa Matsui might roll someone up with the European clutch. Maybe Victoria Yuzuki to lead to another title match. Maybe Mayu for a title match. Even though we already have that. But again, I think then you've got a very clear heel faction and a very clear face faction in the final at Korakuen Hall on the 23rd of February. But again, that will probably mean that Team Seri will be taking on Team Mayu in the final then. And as neither of us have predicted that Team Seri Amoka will go through to the final, that means that they will, of course, go through to the final.
Who do you think wins the whole thing? So you have your final Darkness versus the Ladyship. Who do you think takes it?
Oh, Ladyship. Honestly, I was completely enamored with this team after that Korakuen Hall show. Natsumi Shizuki in particular, who I think is just we sung her praises last week about how she's just come back from this injury and just seems to have a real chip on her shoulder in the best possible way, and everyone is to blame apparently, and she's just going to hurt as many people as she possibly can, which I'm all here for. A violent Natsumi Shizuki is a present for everyone. So yeah, that's been exciting to watch. But yeah, I think Ladyship. My whole thinking behind Utami's team having it was, again, I thought it'd be a stepping stone for Chikugoto. I think having a star like Utami be one of your first champions legitimizes the championship. It's weird because obviously having Mayu win the titles would have the same thing. I just don't think I don't think that team needs the belts. Whereas I think you can argue that Mai Sakurai is on that level, sort of up there with Utami. Certainly after that pure white belt run and her match with Miko Ono, where she was quite clearly wrestling with about 15 concussions after that horrible table spot. She's certainly up there. So I think her and Natsumi and Arina Yamanaka will be great first champions.
Yeah, so based on what we just said, put all the money on Team Seri winning the whole thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It'll be them versus Darkness Revolution, and then Team Seri will be going through. Right, as we mentioned, then we have two shows to talk about. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the fact that on the graphic that Wrestle Universe put out, they said that this show was from the Kasukube Fiore Cube in Saitama, and it wasn't. It wasn't at all. It was, in fact, from the Esforto Arena at Hachioji in Tokyo. So a little bit of a correction there. But this is the show from the 7th of February. And as I mentioned, from the Esforto Arena at Hachioji in Tokyo, 315 people in attendance. It's the first the first time, the company have run the venue, and it's the first show there in 2026. Only two companies have run this arena from 2023 to 2025, and both those are New Japan and All Japan. And while New Japan seems to be the only company that seems to run this venue with any sort of regularity, so there isn't a lot of data to compare it to. A little bit of a reminder that this show marks the Marigold debuts of Dream Girl Ellie, Sophia Sivan, and Olivia Rose, and also the daughter of wrestling legend Dean Malenko, Marie Malenko, which I must admit, and this was something that we were talking about off air, Matt, didn't realize that this was not only her first singles match in Japan, it's her first singles match full stop, this match with Seri Amoka. So very exciting times. In terms of the results, then, we open with a singles match. Nagisa Takibana defeating Yuka Yamazaki with a modified Magistral Cradle in 9 minutes and 46 seconds. Three-way match, Shoko Kishino defeated Megaton and Chiaki, with Shoko Kishino pinning Megaton with a diving splash in 8 minutes and 6 seconds. That aforementioned singles match, Marie Malenko versus Seri Amoka, that ended in a time limit draw at 15 minutes, which I'm really looking forward to getting your thoughts on that match, Matt. 6-woman tag match next. Miku Ano, Koki Yamare, and Hummingbird defeated Mai Sakurai, Natsumi Shizuki, and Nao Ishikawa. Miku Ano getting the pinfall over Nao Ishikawa with the Tiger Driver in 14 minutes and 13 seconds. We then had our two final first round matchups in this 3D Trios Championship. championship. And again, you will have worked out the results by now if you didn't know them already. But Mayu Iwatani, Victoria Yuzuki, and Kamomo Minami defeated the foreign team of Sophia Savan, Dream Girl Ellie, and Olivia Rose, with Yuzuki getting the pinfall over Olivia Rose with the cross-arm suplex in 10 minutes and 59 seconds. And then in your main event, the Darkness Revolution team, Nagisa Nozaki, Misa Matsui, and Ria Sato defeated Utami, Chikagoto, and Chanyota in the other first round match, with Misa Matsui getting the pinfall over Utami with the European clutch in 13 minutes and 44 seconds. So, Matt, let's talk about the opener. And it's a match, actually, we're running back on the next show as well. Nagisa Takibana and Yuka Yamazaki, two people that we, again, have been full of praise for on this podcast. What were your thoughts on this when they squared up in singles action?
Wow, this was fantastic. I mean, really great stuff from Nagisa and Yuka. We talk about how these are two of our favorite wrestlers to watch on the start, or really any of these shows that we cover. Whether they're match one or match two, Nagisa constantly getting better, Yuka constantly getting better in every aspect too. The tag, the three ways, the singles matches with Megaton. Nobody has better, chemistry with Megaton than Yuka, in my opinion. Really great way to start this match. The big lockup, the arm drags, the chain wrestling. Again, great fundamentals we have seen over the past 5 or 6 months since Mayu has been a part of Marigold, and since Kondo has been taking over most of the training. The fundamentals, the closing the gaps. You can't really see through anything that most of these girls are doing, because they're tightening a lot of the holds up. And these two in this match is the perfect example. Just some really great stuff back and forth. Yuka does that running X Factor, and then Nagisa does that spot where it looks like she's going to do a springboard bulldog, but then she turns it into an X Factor, which I really enjoyed. We get a suplex exchange, a forearm exchange, really good stuff there. Yuka hits a beautiful brain buster and then shouts out to the Big Show, hits the final cut for a 2 count. We get some great roll-ups back and forth to kind of rib the ref in match one. The fact that this is the first match, the ref's got to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Just getting that cardio in.
Yeah, there you go, to get them all warmed up. But eventually, though, it is Nagisa hits that double jump springboard high cross body, which we haven't seen in quite some time. Maybe the past 3 or 4 shows she hasn't done. She's been doing that misdirection one that I talked about last week that I love. She hits that beautiful double jump springboard cross body, and then transitions that into a Lamai straw cradle for the 3 count. Start your show at a hot opener, buddy. This was a hot opener. 3 3/4 stars. This was fantastic. Wait till I talk about how great their match was the next day. Again, hot opener. Thoroughly enjoy this one. 3 3/4 stars.
Again, and I think a lot of credit obviously goes to Nagisa, but Yuki Yamazaki as well, because whenever she's in a singles match, it doesn't seem to matter who she's against. It's always really good viewing. You know, she's had great matches with Seri, a fantastic match with Misa Matsui. Last week, a great match with Nagisa Takibana. This week, and then an even better one on the 8th as well. Again, we seem to say this on a regular basis, but Marigold are spoilt a little bit with the amount of young talent they have got coming through. The youth of Marigold really are an exciting prospect in this company. And Nagisa Takibana, again, the amount of development in her over the course of the last probably 6 months has been quite phenomenal. Really, really, really good.
Yeah, we've been saying it before, the best young roster probably in all of wrestling, partner.
It's up there, certainly. Yeah. It's certainly up there, yeah. We move on to our 3-way match then. Shoko Kishino getting the win by hitting Megaton with the diving body press. Again, you look at who is in this match. Obviously, you've got Shoko Kishino, who Marigold are quite clearly very high on, high enough to take the Flying Penguin mask off her. You've got Chiaki, who is going to be challenging for the Crimson Belt very, very, very soon, possibly at the upcoming Korakuen. The only question that anyone was raising in this match was who was pinning Megaton.
How dare you, sir?
That's the only question raised, and it was Shoko Kishino.
Yeah, my prediction on this was wrong. I thought they would have pulled a Roman Reigns at WrestleMania when he stacked Edge and Bryan Danielson. Yes, that's what I thought. I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming. It's your standard, fun, really good 3-way. You have your comedy, you have your single spots, you have your your three-way spots. Megaton gets the Megaton press, and she's wildly over with the whistle and all that other stuff. Chiaki does a great job getting proper heat, like them booing her like out of the building anytime she like does something to Megaton. And it's the good heat. Like it's the, the heat that you want boo. I want to see somebody kick your butt. Shoko was terrific. I'd like to see Shoko and Chiaki in a singles match because I think they worked really well together. I really enjoyed this one. I mean, they had to go after a really great hot opener with Nagise and Yuka that we just talked about. But this was, I thought, in the perfect spot. Again, comedy, great wrestling, really good finish as well towards the end. 3.25 stars. I thought this one really hit the mark for me.
We then get onto a match I was really excited to watch. And once I found out that because I didn't watch, well, nobody watched this live because it was video on demand. But before seeing her backstage promo, I got no idea it was her first singles match, Marie Malenko, full stop. I thought there was a couple of interesting things here. The main one, of course, being that this went to a 15-minute time limit draw. And Seri didn't pick up a victory, especially as, she is a hot prospect in Marigold. What were your thoughts on this? Were you surprised at the result? And obviously, with this being not only Marie Malenko's first singles match in Marigold, her first singles match, full stop, how do you think she equipped herself with, there's obviously going to be a language barrier. There's obviously going to be things that are different to the way she's wrestled before. How do you think she did? Because I think the other thing is, for me, to have your first singles match in a completely different country with completely different wrestling culture, with someone who doesn't speak the language, who it is, again, let's not beat around the bush. Seri Yamaoka is relatively inexperienced in the grand scheme of things, just over a year, in fact. What were your thoughts on the overall of this match?
The singles match is when you have the inexperience in the language barrier. The singles match is the best to do it because it's just them two. It's just the two of them.
It's just one voice you are trying to pay attention to as opposed to multiple voices around the ring.
And we're going to get into it in a match we're going to talk about in a little bit, partner. But wrestling is a universal language. And I remember these were questions I asked during my time in Ring of Honor, where I'd ask Punk or Steve Corino, because Corino was in Japan constantly. I'm like, what do you do if there's a language barrier? They said wrestling's a universal language. You can kind of figure it out. Not unless there's something specific that he would always use. Corino would always use Hashimoto as Shinjiro Hashimoto, because he was the owner of 01. Because not unless the boss Hashimoto wants something to happen. A lot of the stuff you kind of just go off feel. Wrestling is a universal language, and you can tell 2 or 3 minutes in this match. I figured it was going to go to time limit drop because it was very well paced. Seri is working her great grounding style, that amateur style, that great ground wrestling style, the catch style. And Marie Malenko is wrestling her dad style, which is exactly what I wanted. Exactly. Now she came in here and was doing all the high flying stuff or whatever, and gainers and 450s and light tubes or whatever. Like, hey, she's completely different from her dad, and that's I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. Came in a clown makeup, like, oh, she's doing something completely different, but she's wrestling like her dad, which I'm like, great. We're gonna get a female version of Dee Malenko.
There are worse people to take after.
Yeah, 1 or 2. But I'm like, if we're going to get like a young version, a female version of Dean Malenko in this company we love, Marigold, and her first match is with Seri Yamaoka, the first person to pin Mayu clean in the middle of a Marigold ring. Okay, I thought this was exactly what it was. Once we got 2 or 3 minutes in, I knew that what this match was going to be, and it's exactly what I got. And there's nothing wrong with that. I hate it when people are like, oh, they did this. And that's exactly what I knew we were going to get. I'm like, you got great wrestling. It's like I went to a steakhouse, I ordered a steak, and they brought me a steak. Oh, how terrible is that? This was great. I really, really enjoyed this. Hopefully, because it went to a time limit draw, maybe they run it back. But again, it was great back and forth. Great 50-50. Marie Malenko, her strikes were really good for somebody who doesn't work the hard-hitting Joshi Puro hard-hitting style. And sometimes you see people, it takes a little bit to get acquainted with the strikes, where it's just like, no, you're allowed to hit them a little bit harder. That's the style over here. So she fit in really well. She had a really good insecurity. Sarah comes back with some shoulder tackles. Marie hits a great back suplex. We get a great form exchange back and forth. And again, her forms didn't look like they were out of place. We know that Sarah can throw those forearms. Again, look who probably some of her teachers are in the dojo. Probably Utami, probably Mayu. So, she's being taught how to throw them with some vigor. Marie slows down Sarah with the Boston Crab. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Sarah hits a big spine buster. Then Marie's able to come back with a Hurricanrana and then a step up Hurricanrana. She must have taken that from Uncle Rey Mysterio on that one, buddy. Uh, and then Marie locks in the Texas Cloverleaf, but the time expires. So very interesting to have not only this go to TLD, but have Marie Malenko, the one kind of in control. Because if you did watch that 6-person tag from Monday Magic, Marie gets the win with the Texas Cloverleaf. So I'm like, great, we're using dad's stuff, and it worked in the 90s and it worked in the 2000s. It's definitely going to work here. So I thoroughly enjoyed this. 3 3/4 stars. And again, I didn't know until right before you hit the record button, partner, that this was Marie's first singles match, full stop. And considering the fact that you're absolutely right, as great as Sarah is, she's only been wrestling a little over a year. So she's the one that probably is trying to direct this match, and it's in her promotion. This is Marie's first match in Marigold, where Sarah's wrestled every single match, pretty much every single match of her career in Marigold. So Sarah's the ones like, I know where this match needs to go. She was able to lead. Marie was able to follow. I enjoyed this. I would love to see this run back. Their styles work perfect. 3 3/4 stars. I thoroughly enjoyed this.
Mika Wano then getting the pinfall over Naoya Ishikawa with that Tiger driver. But Matt, wouldn't you know it, the most exciting bits of this match? What were they, good sir?
Was a Hummingbird turning on Miko Wano, cashing in the Money in the Bank Hummingbird,
money in the bird.
As soon as this match started, I'm like, I hope we get something Miko Wano, not Sumi Shozuki. Yep. We didn't have to wait. It was like,
no,
clear out. I don't know if they're just doing this because they want to get a match, or like, hey, let's just see what this is going to look like. Because if you remember, only like 5 or 6 months into Marigold, they had Miko and Natsumi be a tag team. I think they might have been in the tag tournament, or
they were in the Twin Star tournament.
Twin Star tournament.
No, Natsumi was teaming with Misamatsui. They lost in the final.
Oh, but they did have Miko. They did have Miko and Natsumi team up in a handful of matches. I remember these two are good together, and their chemistry across the ring is even better. So again, they have gold, pun definitely intended, on their hands with the Miko Wano versus Natsumi Shozuki 16, 17, 18-minute World of Marigold Championship match. We got a glimpse of it here, and of course they just went and they just kicked, pun definitely intended, kicked the crap out of each other.
They really did.
Really great stuff there. Obviously, we know Naoya Ishikawa and Miko Wano, they have great chemistry as well. They wrestled each other on the very first Marigold show back at Field Forever. Koki Amare is definitely back, full stop. Just the charisma, the aura that she has. Hummingbird is terrific as well. Another one, very much like a Yuka, very much like a Nagisa Takabana, is improving each and every outing. You can tell she is putting in the hard yards, as you say, good sir, behind the scenes in the dojo. She's another one that is so explosive, but yet doesn't go too fast, where like the crowd can't get a hold of the psychology that she's doing. I thought Hummingbird was a great standout here. And to the shock of nobody, Mai Sakurai. She was really good, because Mai Sakurai is really, really good. Maybe Naoya Ishikawa, this might have been a recruiting match for her for the ladyship, Rob. Maybe that's a possibility. I mean, we shall see. But no, really great stuff, as you said, buddy. The most intriguing parts of this match were Miko Wano and Natsumi Shozuki. Some really, really great stuff. And then towards the closing stretch of this match, we did get a little bit of Hummingbird and Naoya Ishikawa. And those two, they always seem like when they're on like match 1, match 2, match 3, whether there's a tag, a singles, or a 3-way, they seem hell bent for leather to really go and like steal the undercard. Like these two, Hummingbird and Naoya Ishikawa, they really seem like they have a point to prove, and their stuff towards the end was really good. But at the end, Miko Wano comes in and absolutely cleans house, putting away one Naoya Ishikawa with a huge lariat, and then follows up with a Tiger Driver for the pinfall. I like the fact this got time over 14 minutes. Thoroughly enjoyed this one. 3 3/4 stars for me.
what Marigold can sometimes be very guilty of is not giving matches enough time. And actually, if you look at the run times on this card in particular, especially as it was a 6-match card, which Marigold don't often run on their tour shows, tends to be 5. They actually gave most of the matches a decent amount of time, just under 14 minutes in the main event, 14 minutes here, 15 minutes for the Seriam Oka and Marie Malenko match. I think it serves the wrestlers better to give them that amount of time, especially if you are only running a 5-match show. You really can afford to give them, 15, 16 minutes to really tell their story. And again, you're absolutely right, Matt. I think this match benefited hugely from being given that additional time. We move on then to our semi-main event and the first of our 2 3D Championship Tournament Round 1 matches. Mayu Otani, Victoria Yuzuki, and Komomo Minami defeating the debuting foreign team of Sophia Savan, Dream Girl Ellie, and Olivia Rose. I will say Sophia Savan's name in about 4 different ways because I'm not 1,000% sure how to say if it's Sophia Sivan, Sophia Savan,
Sophia.
Let's just call her Sophia. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure I called her Sophie earlier on. So I'm on to a winner today. But yes, Sophia Savan, as well as I mentioned, Dream Girl Ali and Olivia Rose. Now, we talked earlier, Matt, about communication across the ring and how it's when you are wrestling in a different culture with a language barrier as well, a singles match is easier. Again, you've only got the one voice to pay attention to. A 6-woman tag match is obviously a lot more difficult. Now, this isn't, I believe it's Sophia's. This isn't her first tour. I believe she did some shots for JTO in 2024. But I think there was something that wasn't quite right here. I think we do need to mention the fact that how Komomo Minami is able to stand up. Like, it was miscommunications happen, and I'm certainly not portioning blame. It just happens. Again, unfortunately, that's what happens in wrestling. But that bump that she took was awful. It really, really was. And when she first takes it and the sort of sell she does as well, I was like, oh my God. And obviously I knew she was fine because obviously she wrestled on the 8th. But yeah, it was honestly quite a heart-stoppingly frightening moment. And there were just little bits here and there where the communication wasn't quite there. Yeah, there was something, Matt. Dream, you said it before we started recording. The standout for me was certainly Dream Girl Ellie, who I thought was a really, really solid part of this match. And again, you look at her participation in the main event of the next show as well. I think I'd love to see more of her in Marigold.
First and foremost, Rob, do you think Komomo Minami has the best render? Look at her; she's just pointing at you, like, "Yeah, you go and talk about this match, Rob."
I think she's got the strongest neck.
Yeah, that might be sure. Looking at it, looking at the bump. And again, we don't know what the communication was like beforehand.
No.
It looked like Olivia was going for like a Ricky Steamboat style arm drag, and Komomo was trying to take like maybe a different like a normal arm drag that you would see maybe Tanahashi do, or one they may probably teach in a more traditional style arm drag where it looked like Olivia, at least from what I'm seeing. And it's easy to pull blame at Olivia. That's obviously what the internet's doing, and obviously we're not here to do that because we don't know where the communication was. It just seemed like something was off. Unfortunately, it happened. It looks like Komomo's obviously okay. Thank the good Lord. We can't go back and change it, but what we can do is we can learn from it. And I did tell you off air what these girls being in Japan, what they're obviously going to do is they're going to learn. They're going to consistently get better. Look who they were in the ring with. From where I was sitting, even just watching the entrances, Sophia looked, not Sophia, excuse me, Olivia, even on her entrance alone, looked so nervous. And look who she's across from the ring with, Mayu Iwatani, in our opinion, the greatest of all time, still in her prime. And like, here it is. I'm in this match, this big tournament match. And obviously, Yuzuki is a massive star already, only wrestling 2 years. And I thought Victoria Yuzuki did a great job holding majority of this match together when there was a couple parts where it looked like it could have fell apart. Because not only was it that awful arm drag that didn't look good, there was things that you can just see that weren't clicking at all. and it looked like Yuzuki, more so than Mayu, was able to get the match back on track and be able to have what I thought turned out to be a good match. And it could have been a disaster because I've been in matches before where there's a communication breakdown, look like someone might have got injured on something, and then all of a sudden it just goes awful, and you're like, let's just take it home and get out of here. Where
Hmm.
Yuzuki did a really good job from where I was sitting, getting the match back somewhat on track. I thought Sophia, she was really good in parts of this match. She's got great charisma. I guess her character is she's like a gamer because she had the headphones and came out with a controller. If she's part of Darkness Revolution, you know that controller is going to get hit off somebody's head. I'm calling
Yep.
that right now. But Dream Girl Ellie might be part of Darkness Revolution because of the main event on the next show, which we'll talk about. But I thought she was definitely the standout here. She had some great stuff with Mayu. Kamo Minami, you can see when she got back in the ring, she was still a little timid, but she still did all of the spots properly. Again, for a match that could have really went off the rails fast, I thought the Team Mayu did a great job getting it back on track. And I thought that Sophia and Dream Girl Ellie did a great job kind of following their lead. Again, Olivia, I just think she's a little bit too green, but she's in the right place to learn. You're only going to get better. As I said to you off air, not everybody starts off like Sarah Yamaoka, where they're going to be great. She's in the proper place to learn. She's in Japan. She's, wrestling in a company here, or she was here for this past weekend wrestling one of the best wrestling companies going. You have Mayu in there, you have Mai Sakurai, you have Miko Ano, Natsume Shozuki, Utami Hayashishita, where she could have asked questions or like, hey, can you teach me this? Or, hey, can I get here earlier? Hey, is there any way that I can come by the dojo when it's open to go and get better? So she is only going to get better. Again, accidents happen. You can't change what happened in the past. But the match happened. We got to the finish. And again, like I said, I think Victoria Yuzuki did a great job getting this match back on track when you have 5 other people to worry about, even though you don't have to worry about Mayu because she's Mayu. But I thought Yuzuki was kind of the one that got this match back somewhat on track. I actually had a 3.5 stars. And I told you before, I actually kind of enjoyed, especially towards the finish, where how they were able to ramp things up. And maybe I just really enjoyed it because Victoria Yuzuki, the last few shows, is pulling back out the straight jacket German suplex, which I think is her best hold. I like the victory shooting, don't get me wrong, but I like a good suplex, Rob. I'm not a hard guy to please this time of the year. I like warmer weather, a Joshi themed Valentine's, and a good German suplex. And that's what we're getting here. 3.5 stars, Team Mayu moving on, maybe to the finals, maybe not. We'll find out this weekend, buddy.
I don't know what the point is of us even trying a bracketology in this tournament.
Fun. It's
the
fun.
2023 Cinderella tournament all over again, Matt Turner.
I might go back and listen to that before we do our brackets. About the
Moving on then to your main event of the show on the 7th, Utami Hayashishita, Chika Goto, and Chanyota, the nailed-on winners of this tournament, being eliminated in the first round by Darkness Revolution. Of course, a huge win for Misa Matsui, Matt.
Yeah, we really don't see the stars getting, I don't mean Mayu's old-fashioned stars, but like the big stars of this company, which obviously Mayu and Utami are obviously 1 and 2. And Utami's been the 1 and 2 position ever since the start of Marigold. We don't see them eating pinfalls on your tour shows, house shows. Usually it's going to be a big pay-per-view or it's going to be a big Korakuen match. And if she's going to eat an L, it's going to be to Miko Ano or Mayu, so on and so forth. So I really like this. I like that Misa got a win. She was able to counter the torture rack bomb from Utami, roll through and then roll back. So it was a cool visual. She rolls through and then rolls back into the European clutch for the pinfall. I was like, I'm a massive fan of Utami, but that's what I want to see. That's how you get elevated, is having a star like Utami Hayashishita, again, maybe the most unselfish main eventer in all of wrestling, putting over Misa Matsui in round 1. Now, I can't confirm or deny, but from what I understand is that Team Utami was actually supposed to win the whole tournament until Rob gave his prediction. And they're like, no,
Absolutely.
that's the only logic I can go by. Great seeing Chan Yoda. We don't get to see her as much as we like. Chika Goto, again, obviously Chika Goto works with Koki Amare. She works really good with Manami Yuki, which we know Manami Yuki's on the shelf. And she works really good with Utami Hayashishita, which just goes to show you how great of a wrestler Chika Goto is becoming, because she's not only a great singles wrestler, but we've seen her become a great tag wrestler with 3 different partners in the span of the last 9 or 10 months. Really great stuff with Rhea Sato and Chika Goto. That's a match I would definitely see. I would like to see like a number 1 contenders match. maybe with Chika Goto and Rhea Sato, then have Goto go over and then eventually challenge Victoria Yuzuki, because I think that's where it's all going. Again, Nagisa Nozaki, she's just so cool. Like, she's just so cool the way that she does certain things. It's almost like the crowd wants her to break the rules a little bit. It's like, yeah, like we're gonna boo Chiaki when she breaks the rules. We're kind of gonna cheer Nagisa when she breaks the rules, because like she's just too cool for school. Really great stuff, especially towards the end. You can see where the teamwork of Darkness is kind of taking the advantage here. And then we just get great stuff with Utami, Chika Goto, and Chanyo just dropping bombs on Darkness. And then just when it looks like Utami's going to put away Misa Matsui, Misa Matsui is able to out-trick one Utami Hayashisa to get the pinfall. Rob, I had this match at 4 stars, but because of that finish with Utami and Misa was so chef's kiss, I actually bumped it up to 4.25 stars. And it was my second favorite match from these shows we're going to talk about, good sir.
And let's talk about the semi-finals then. Again, we've got the graphic on the screen for you. Tomorrow's show in Shinjuku Phase will see Team Mayu take on Darkness Revolution. And then the 176 box show on the 15th of February will see Team Mai Sakurai, the Lady Ship, take on Team Yamaoka, with the 2 winners of those 2 semifinals going on to Korakuen Hall the 23rd of February for the finals. The show on the following day, then, the 8th of February, night 8 of the New Year's Golden Garden Tour, inside the Cascabe Fiore Cube in Saitama, which is, of course, Mika Wano's hometown. The attendance 316. It's the second time the company have run the venue, though the first time back on the 28th of June 2025 did not have its attendance announced. Just a reminder, of course, that prior to the show, it was announced that Yamaoka had picked up an injury on the previous day's show, so therefore would not be appearing on the 8th. She was replaced in the tag match again by Komomo Minami. The results then: singles match opened the show. Yuki Yamazaki getting her win back against Nagisa Takibana, reversing the La Magistral cradle that got her the win in the first match in 9 minutes and 15 seconds. Another singles match, Chiaki defeated Nao Ishikawa with a high-angle powerbomb in 11 minutes and 40 seconds. Tag team match, Victoria Yuzuki and Komomo Minami defeated Olivia Rose and Sophia Savan, with Komomo Minami pinning Olivia Rose with a Como clutch in 9 minutes and 58 seconds. Singles match, Marie Malenko gets the win over Rhea Sato, locking in the Texas Cloverleaf in 10 minutes. 6-woman tag match next. Mai Sakurai, Natsumi Shozuki, and Koki Amare defeated Mayu Iwatani, Utami Hayashishita, and Hummingbird. Mai Sakurai submitting the bird with the STF in 11 minutes and 5 seconds. And then in your main event, 6-woman tag team action. Darkness Revolution, Misa Matsui, Nagisa Nozaki, and their new member, supposedly, sort of, satellite member perhaps, Dream Girl Ellie, defeated Mika Wano, Koki Amare, and Megaton. Misa Matsui getting a second straight pinfall, this time over Megaton with a diving double foot stomp in 17 minutes and 7 seconds. Matt, let's talk about this opener then. You said you preferred it to their match on the previous show, and I must admit I absolutely loved the finish of this match, simply because it took into account the finish that happened on the 7th.
Hey, buddy, real quick, what was the attendance on this show again?
316, I believe.
What? See, so I did there 316.
Do you know what? As soon as I said it, I was like, oh no.
What? Tequila. What? I mentioned about a minute or two ago that my second favorite match from these 2 shows was the main event of the first show. My favorite match of all these shows we're reviewing is this one right here. This is how much I like this.
Really? Wow.
This
okay.
may be, and I'm thinking in my head, this might be the greatest opener in Marigold's history, even counting the pay-per-views and Korakuens. I can't think. Maybe Shino versus Kazuna Tanaka or Shino versus Mai Sakurai. I'm trying to. When this match got over, I was in my head thinking, I don't know if I've seen a better opener in Marigold's history, and maybe not a better opener in wrestling in quite some time. As great as their match was the day before, again, 3 3/4 stars, a great match. This was even better. This flowed perfectly. Like we always say when we watch a Soriano match, like she flows so perfectly in the ring, but yet she still puts some struggle in there, so it doesn't look like a ballet that like Soriano was put on earth to be a pro wrestler. This match had a lot of those factors in it. It flowed really well. It still had the struggle. I mean, they started out by throwing forearms on each other. Like, little ding, here it is, the first match. Let's start hitting each other in the face really hard. I'm like, all right, I'm in. The great technical wrestling, really great stuff back and forth. Nagisa, I didn't even realize this. Nagisa hits a stunner. What? There's another Stone Cold reference. And then she uses the stunner to go to like a modified Indian deathlock. Again, one of the most improved wrestlers in all of wrestling is Nagisa Takabana. Wouldn't be shocked for our year-end awards at the end of this year that she does win that award because she's come a long way so fast. Really great stuff there. And I love it how Yuka, we've been seeing this combination quite a bit from her over the last few shows. She hits that beautiful step up enziguri into the code breaker. Then after she hits the code breaker, she backs up, runs off the rope, and then does a rolling jackknife cradle. So you get three really cool spots that are chained together really well, that they really make sense. And the positioning is perfect because literally the opponent is right there in the middle of the ring, and all they're doing is taking three things, taking a bump, and then Yuka gets the 2.9 fall there. I really enjoyed that. Nagisa, we've seen this move quite a bit. She does like almost like a standing diamond dust. Shouts out to Masato Tanaka, where she has her opponent like on the ground. She locks in a dragon sleeper and does a front flip. So I was just like, I don't know what that's called. I don't know if I've ever seen it before, but I thought that was really, really good. Excellent stuff there. We get some great cradles back and forth for the 2 count. Again, getting that referee to get the cardio in. Nagisa hits the beautiful double jump high crossbody for a 2 count. She goes for the same finish again, but Yuka was able to learn from her mistakes. Great back and forth between towards the end here. And then Yuka catches Nagisa in a modified mousetrap for the finish. This was great. And again, as much as I love their match from the day before, this was even better. Literally the point I tweeted out, I'm like, if you have Wrestle Universe, go and watch it. If you don't have Wrestle Universe, this match alone is worth your $8-9, whatever it is that they charge. This was phenomenal. I'm so excited to see what these two are going to do in the future because it's only the first week of February. These two have such a bright future for Marigold. 4.25 stars, Rob. Like I said, one of the best openers I've seen on any wrestling show. This was terrific. And the fact that they did it on a tour show, like it wasn't a Corkin, wasn't Ode Award, it wasn't a pay-per-view, it was, as you called it, a tour show, really goes to show that these two are taking advantage of each and every second that they have in the ring, and they absolutely hit it out of the park. Again, considering the fact all the great wrestling, all the great matches that we've seen, we have Mayu, Utami, Miko Ano, Natsumi Shozuki, these 12 matches, that this was my favorite match and didn't have Mayu or Utami or Natsumi or Mai Sakurai or Megaton in it. This was my favorite match. Again, 4.25 stars, just absolutely brilliant.
We move on then. Chiaki getting a win ahead of that projected red belt match was always going to happen here. But again, now Ishikawa, as we often say on these undercard singles matches, giving a great account of herself, Matt.
Yeah, this got ugly fast, and like I said, struggle. Yeah, in a good way. And you knew this needed to be because Shaki's a hard hitter. Now Ishikawa, she don't put up on any BS. So this match goes to the floor. We think Chiaki would have the advantage, and she does for a little bit. Then she's a heel. She gets a little over cocky, a little overconfident, and then now Ishikawa takes it to her and starts beating up on Chiaki, which I thought was great. And then we get back in the ring and we get more of a slugfest. Then Chiaki's kind of bends and breaks the rules a little. She hits the claw into the claw slam. Now Ishikawa is able to make her comeback. She hits that beautiful double underhook suplex, but eventually just too much of Chiaki pouring on one now. Ishikawa, again, a great build-up match for Chiaki to, again, possibly be the next challenger for Miko Ano's World of Marigold Championship. Then Chiaki puts Naomi Ishikawa away with the Liger Bomb. Move she's used a little bit here or there, Rob. I like to see it used more as a finish. I like the claw slam. Obviously the top rope leg drop. Not only does it look great, but it was given to her from Bull Nakano. So how can you not add that? But the Liger Bomb works as well. 3.5 stars for me. This is a really good one.
Moving on again, then we move on to the tag team match. Victoria Yuzuki and Komomo Minami against Sophia Savan and Olivia Rose. Komomo Minami getting one over Olivia Rose with the Como clutch, Matt.
Yeah, I mentioned during the 6-person tag that Yuzuki was kind of the glue that held everything together when things were getting a little wonky. Same thing here. Yuzuki was great. I'll tell you what, Olivia Rose feeding for Yuzuki's comeback was great because, again, she looked really nervous in that match one. She looked nervous on her entrance here. And then I think just once things started clicking, she got much better here because some of the stuff that Victoria Yuzuki does you have to be a good base for. And you have to bump and feed in the right place, because if we know Yuzuki's going to go bang, 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 and then by the second bump, if her opponent is like in the ropes or not in the right place, it's going to mess up Yuzuki's flow. And Yuzuki's great at doing all those fast spots because she's great, but Olivia was there for all of it. Like, and again, I've seen every Victoria Yuzuki match from Stardom to Marigold, so I know how she works her comeback. So I'm like, is Olivia going to be in the right place at the right time? Because she was the one that I was kind of worried about after the first show. She was there for everything. She was there for everything. And again, I don't know if match one was a case of nerves, or she was like, where do I need to be? And maybe it's something they worked out in the ring beforehand. Whatever it was, it worked. Komomo was great. Again, Sophia, I thought was terrific in this match as well. I think Sophia and Olivia as a tag team worked really well here. So does Victoria Yuzuki and Komomo Nami. Again, from what we understand, is they're really good friends outside the ring. So that's why they make really good tag team partners. But Komomo Nami getting the win with the Komomo clutch. Again, I really enjoyed this one. 3.5 stars for me, my friend.
We then move on to Marie Malenko's second ever singles match and gets her first ever singles victory against Rhea Sato with that Texas Cloverleaf. How poetic. Matt, what did you think of this one, and how did you feel about the structure in comparison to the Seriyamoka one?
How do I feel about the structure of your hiccups? I hope they go away and you have an excellent night, my friend. That's what I hope.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
This week, again, Rhea and Sari, they work a very grounded submission style. So I think I even made mention when we did a little preview for this last week, that you're putting Marie Malenko in a great spot to shine, because she's working, again, her dad's technical wrestling style with Sari, who's a great technical wrestler, and Rhea, who's a great technical and submission wrestler. And we had a lot of that here. I just didn't get the 15 minutes to flush out their story, but still was really great. You had great headlock exchanges, great armbar exchanges, really good stuff there. I noticed Marie Malenko, when she was doing her headlock, she would really grind down on Rhea Sato, and she knew where like all the photographers were. She would like stop and like make sure they got the photo there. I was like, good for you, Marie Malenko, because as you know, Rob, better than anybody, when you go to Marigold shows, there's 1,000 photographers, because you were one about 5 weeks ago, my friend. So enjoyed that. I like how Rhea Sato cuts off the ring and she uses her experience to kind of dominate the middle part of this match. Again, Rhea Sato, she's the heel in the match. She hits the corner drop kick, Fujiwara armbar, starts breaking down Maria Malenko's arm. Maria makes her comeback, hits a big drop kick, locks in the Boston Crab, and then by she I mean Marie transitions the Boston Crab into the Texas Cloverleaf, forcing Rhea Sato for the tap out. Again, I thoroughly enjoyed this one. It was a simple structure, easy story to tell. 3.5 stars for me.
Yeah, I think of the 4 foreigners that we have seen across these 2 cards, and again, it is worth pointing out that none of them are featured on the upcoming cards on the 13th, 14th, and 15th of February. Marie Malenko, and this is absolutely nothing to do with her lineage, nothing to do with her family. I am most excited to see more of her. I thought Dream Girl Ali was great. I thought Sophia Savan as a character, like the aesthetic, I really enjoyed. I thought Olivia Rose grew into that tag match a lot more, and I think was far more comfortable by the end of that match. But it's Marie Malenko that I was A, really, really impressed with, and B, the one I am most excited to see more of. So again, Marigold, if you are listening and there is an option to bring Marie Malenko back over, absolutely be up for that. Certainly.
She just needed to change her music. She had comes like a pop version of Cold as Ice. Nothing against that song. If you're gonna come out to a cover, heavy metal, Rob.
Always
Yeah.
heavy metal. If heavy metal's not the answer, I do not want to know what the question is. I mean, take a leaf out of Bozilla's book. When Bozilla debuted a new singles theme at Korakuen, and it was Arch Enemy, and it was fantastic, really good. So yeah, metal forever. Moving on then, we had a 6-woman tag, Mayu, Utami, and Hummingbird against Mai Sakurai, Natsumi Shizuki, and Koki Amare. Mai Sakurai getting the win over Hummingbird, Matt. Again, a big, powerful 6-woman tag, especially when you consider who is in this match, Matt.
Yeah, they did a great job highlighting Hummingbird, which I knew they would, because she stands out because she's like the real big high flyer in this match. Like Mayu has her high flying, Hummingbird, most of her offense is that high flying. But you can tell they're building Hummingbird up in this match to eat the loss. As they say all the time, if you just beat somebody and then beat them, who'd you beat? But if you build them up and make them look credible, then you beat them like, wow, you overcame the odds. The first thing I got to shout out is Utami and Hummingbird, their tribute to the late great Rocco Rock and Johnny Grunge, doing the Public Enemy drive-by, but not doing it off the top rope. No, Hummingbird stood on top of Utami's shoulders and did it. So I was like, I thought that was a really cool spot. And then you have Mayu and Utami, basically the superpowers, the mega powers, if you will, here in Marigold as a team. Obviously, their stuff was great. I would love to see them have like just a proper tag match, like maybe Mayu and Utami versus like Yuzuki and Kamoma Nami. Just give them 15, 20 minutes and let them run, because we've never seen Mayu and Utami on like being part of a team. We know they have great chemistry as partners. As opponents, but as a tag team, they worked out really well here. Natsumi and Koki, really great stuff. My Sakurai as well. Koki Amare again, you can just tell she's full speed ahead. And when it is the time for Marigold to strap her up, whether it's for maybe it's her and Victoria Yuzuki, maybe coming up on that pay-per-view in the spring. There's definitely big plans for Koki Amare. She was terrific here. But again, Rob, for me, it's all about Natsumi Shozuki. And look who she's across the ring with, Utami, Mayu. Those are singles matches that I would like to see, because this is a completely different Natsumi Shozuki. Really terrific stuff here. And then we get a great closing sequence with Hummingbird and Mai Sakurai. Mai Sakurai does a great job bumping and feeding and selling for Hummingbird, and looking like Hummingbird can maybe crack the egg and get the big win over, or maybe put a feather in the cap of Mai Sakurai. Might have been reaching for that one, but regardless. But ultimately, it is Mai Sakurai hitting the Shining Black and locking Hummingbird up in the STF for the tap out. A really great match that has a lot of star power. Again, for me, it's all about Natsumi Shozuki. And hopefully we see her get some big singles matches coming up soon. 4 stars for me, my friend.
It's interesting you said about Hummingbird, because obviously her natural position is that Superfly title, but having just had her match with Mayu Iwatani, that is where the introduction of these trios titles is going to be so helpful, because it does give people who would ordinarily be just sort of on the lower mid card until it's their turn to be cycled through for the title, I think, or their sort of, whatever title it is they're challenging for. I think giving them the trios titles to really highlight just how good these wrestlers are, I think that's a really, really good position to be in. So for someone like a Hummingbird, who, has some main events in the 6 women's, but is mainly undercard wrestler, the trios titles are almost tailor-made for someone like her, so that she is exposed more and is still in a title picture, even if it is not a singles title.
And we've been seeing her, like, again, not only is she great in the ring and constantly improving, which we talk about pretty much each and every show, but she's getting more over with the crowd. She's getting bigger reactions. When it's time for her to make her comeback, the crowd is more into her. When she's selling, the crowd's getting more behind her. Literally to the point, there's a lot of shows we see people dressed up in the Hummingbird mask. Like they're very much like you would see in Korakuen with Marigold or Stardom, when you see people dressed in the Fukian Death face paint. That means that they're getting over with the crowd. But again, listen to her reactions. For everybody out there that listening that watches each and every show like we do, listen to her reactions when she comes out, when she's because more than likely on these shows, especially when she's teaming with stars like Mayu and Utami, she's the one taking the heat. But listen when she's making her comeback, when she's selling, the crowd is getting more invested in the Hummingbird. And I think that's something that Marigold needs to take account for, because the people are starting to get behind her, which is a great credit for her, because unfortunately she's looking at the lights more than she's getting the pinfalls. But considering the fact that my guess is she has more losses than wins, but she's getting over, might be something to look out for, my friend.
Certainly. Looking forward to that. Main event time then, and obviously we see another win for the Darkness Revolution, with Marigold taking a little bit of a leaf out of the hate playbook and having Darkness Revolution appear incredibly strong, which I am certainly not opposed to. Another big win for Misa Matsui, not in terms of who she pinned, because it's Megaton and everyone pins Megaton. Matt, I am just spitting truth, my friend.
You're right.
But the big thing for me was how Dream Girl Ellie fit in with Misa Matsui and Nagisa Nozaki, and she was a great fit for Darkness Revolution, Matt.
Yeah, she worked out really well. The bell rings, we get the wild brawl to start, shocker, right? And then we get the heat on poor Megaton, and then Miko Ano comes in, she cleans house. Just when it looks like that after her cleaning house, it's going to be a 3-on-1 advantage onto the champion, Here comes Go Chica. And Go Chico and Miko Ano completely wipe out this trio a few times. They do the spots where they have Nagisa and Misa in opposite corners, and we see the Shibata style dropkick from Miko Ano and Chica Goto with the hip attack. And I mentioned a few minutes ago, Goto's great with Manami Yuki, Koki Amare. It looked like they were going to tag title run before Koki Amare got hurt. Chica Goto's doing great stuff with the Utami. Chica Goto and Miko Ano were my favorite parts of this match. They gelled so well together. Now, I know you might be thinking, Rob, wasn't your favorite part in this match where Megaton went to go off Miko Ano's shoulders to do a splash off Miko Ano's shoulders, and then Nagisa Nozaki just kicks Miko Ano? Poor Megaton took that awkward bump, and God bless Miko Ano. She was trying to control where Megaton went and kept her safe. I'm like, this isn't going to end well. And here comes Nagisa Nozaki. She's like, haha, I got you. Really great stuff with Chica Goto and Nagisa Nozaki. We've seen them have great chemistry before. Again, Dream Girl Ellie was terrific. There were some double teams and triple team spots that she did in this match that worked really well. So if Darkness Revolution is going to have a satellite foreign member of their group, it's Dream Girl Ellie. I mean, even if you're looking in this picture, her outfit just screams Darkness Revolution. She worked really well here. Great stuff towards the end with Nagisa and Ellie versus Miko Ano and Chica Goto almost taking each other out towards the end. And then Misa Matsui hits that beautiful flying knee to Megaton, and then that wild double stomp, putting away poor Megaton for the 3 count. 3 3/4 stars, a really great match to end this show. Again, big props to Chica Goto. Big props to Miko Ano as well. Again, if they're looking for challengers for Miko Ano, we know we got Chiaki. We keep saying Natsumi Suzuki. And don't put away Misa Matsui. She did pin Utami Hayashishita. I think a Misa versus Miko Ano red belt match would be really, really good for both of them. It would be a great match. I think it would sell really well and be a great spot for Misa Matsui to main event against one Miko Ano. So there's a lot in play that they can do for one Miko Ano. And Miko Ano always hits it out of the park because she's just seeing stars, Rob Goodwin. Seeing stars all the time.
All of the time. Has Amber decided whether she likes Miko Ano's theme over Sarie's theme yet?
I don't know. That's a great question. I will ask her that, and we will find out. That might be the old time limit drop. Yeah, that's the one going back and forth. Wow. And it was so funny because when she was getting into these themes when we were over in Japan, she's like, remember, she told us as we left the Sarie versus Mirai match, because I really love Sarie's theme. And then she's like, I really like Miko Ano's theme. That was on the 3rd. Then we knew we were going to Tokyo Joshi Pro. I'm like, oh my, wait till you hear Miyu Watanabe's. You're going to love Miyu Watanabe. She's like, well, play it for me now. And she's like, oh my God, that is awful. She screams so loud. I was like, how dare you? Willow Nightingale, current TBS champion for AEW, was like, Miyu Watanabe has a beautiful singing voice. So I will disagree with my wife on that one. That I very respectfully. But that's a great question. Who does? Let's ask you. Who's got the better theme in your opinion, Miko Ano or Sarie?
Now then.
I'm throwing Miyu Watanabe in that one for my own good, and I'm saying Miyu Watanabe just to take me out of the conversation.
Okay, well, I'm glad you said that because I hate that theme. I'm gonna say it's a Marigold podcast. I've got it. I've got to say Miko Ano. Crimson Red Belt champion, top of the company. Got to put it up there. Cerise is banging, though, to be fair. Just a reminder then, of course, that this weekend, Marigold will be airing shows on the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th. The show on the 13th, which, of course, is today as you are listening, has already happened. It is live on Wrestle Universe, so you can go and watch it right this second. The show on the 14th and the 15th, I believe, are all video on demand, so they will be released later on next week. Matt Turner, before we go anywhere, though, good sir, there is, of course, one final thing, and that is, of course, a gaze at Julia.
Gaze at Julia, very much the Io and Kyrie watch, because Julia, and we talked about this in the Stardom cast, Julia and Kiana James taking on Io and Rhea Ripley. I did go back and watch that match on my lunch break just so I can go kind of back as a refresher. But so again, Friday night SmackDown, and I know I talked about this on the Stardom cast, but this is the Gaze at Julia segment. So let's focus on one Julia. So we have Julia and Kiana James taking on Io, Sky, and Rhea Ripley on SmackDown for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. The one thing I failed to mention earlier this week was that Julia cut a promo backstage, her and Kiana James, saying that Julia is going to win the Elimination Chamber and go to WrestleMania. That is their plan, for her to go to WrestleMania and challenge whoever is champion. So looks like Julia may be in play for the Elimination Chamber, which I hope so, because Julia's great. Elimination Chamber in Chicago, one of the hotbeds for pro wrestling. So hopefully we do see Julia in the Elimination Chamber. The match starts out with Io running all sorts of crazy spots because it's Io. Eventually the heels, by heels I mean Julia and Kiana James, they cut off Io, put some heat on Io, and then Julia, during the heat, hits a running Joshi dropkick off the apron onto the floor. Because why not? Because Julia is absolutely crazy. Eventually, we get the hot tag into Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley bump and feed is just bumping Julia and Kiana James. Julia rolls to the outside to try to get a breath of air. However, here comes Io coming out of nowhere with that beautiful suicide dive. Wipes out Julia. We get some great teamwork onto Kiana James. And just when it looks like Rhea and Io are going to hit their tag finisher, which is Rhea hitting the Riptide and Io hitting the moonsault, Kiana James flips over Rhea Ripley, hits Rhea Ripley with a super kick. Rhea takes the bump. Io's not aware. So Io is still in play for the moonsault. Kiana James then picks up Io off the top rope, power bombs Io onto Rhea Ripley. Julia gets tagged in. So Julia and Io are now legal. Julia hits the Arrivederci knee for a 2.9 count. Rhea and Kiana go to the floor to brawl. Julia goes to put away Io with the Northern Lights bomb. And I didn't notice this the first time I watched this match, but I noticed it earlier today when I was watching it. So Julia cannot pull off the Northern Lights bomb because she is not blind. She's distracted by the chant from the crowd. They're chanting, "Believe in Tam, believe in Tam." That part did not happen. I just thought that would be funny. Io slips out of the Northern Lights bomb attempt, blind tags into Rhea Ripley. Rhea comes in, headbutt to Julia, riptide, moonsault. Rhea pins Julia for the 3 count. A really good match, about 4 stars for me. Only got about 9 minutes or so. I wish it went a little bit longer, but really good stuff and a little bit of Julia versus Io violence. So now we have basically our own crossing over with Io and Kyrie Watch, as well as a gaze at Julia, my friend. Really good, really cool though for us. Obviously, massive fans of Julia and Io from their days in Stardom and Marigold. Obviously, really cool to see them wrestling on Friday Night SmackDown in front of like 14,000 people. So if you have the time, definitely go and watch it. It's a really, really solid match.
And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up a fairly short episode of the Marigold Standard this week. I think the last one was quite short as well, so I apologize for those that like the longer episodes, but there we are. We will be back next week. Well, I say that. Just a little bit of announcement. I'm just taking a little bit of a break from the podcast side of it. I'm fine, by the way, and I'm not leaving. But I'm need a little bit of a break. It's important to look after your mental health. So I'm just taking a little bit of a break just to decompress and stuff. And then the idea is to be back for the Cinderella tournament. So the start of March, just need a couple of weeks just to reset. Mr. Matt Turner is going to carry on dragging the juggernaut forward, as he so often does, because he's fantastic. So I'm going to try and be off social media and stuff for the next couple of weeks, just to sort of reset and then come back for that for the Cinderella after Pro Wrestling Eve, where I shall be down in London seeing Syuri and Azumi wrestle live. So just thought I'd bring that in at the end in case you're wondering where I am. I haven't died.
Yeah, I'll be here for everything, guys. Marigold Standard, Talk Joshi, Stardom Cast. You're still going to get a whole bunch of stuff. Patreon, I did tap Andy Header, let him know that if he wants to come on for the Marigold Standard and Stardom Cast, he's more than welcome. He always has a seat at the table. So some episodes more than likely will be solo, but if there's anything that Andy wants to jump in, or if he just wants to talk about great hairstyles that's going on in the world of Joshi, he is the expert. So yes, the Marigold Standard, Stardom Cast, they will all be trucking along. The recording schedule and the drop schedule may be a little bit different because at church we're starting Lent next week. So my recording schedule is going to be a little bit different, but we're going to try to keep it on the same tier, but you're still going to get every week Talk Joshi. You're still going to get the Marigold Standard. You're still going to get the Stardom Cast. And for you fantastic members on the Patreon, you're still going to get loads and loads of bonus content, as well as probably some reviews and some match watch alongs, some bonus episodes over on Talk Joshi. So again, Rob is just very much like most of the Stardom roster right now, taking some time off,
Absolutely.
and Rob will be back better than ever. And but no, we're going to be trucking along, folks.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will just say that the one sort of exclusion from that is, of course, our bracketology episode. So when they do announce the brackets for the Cinderella tournament, of course, me and Matt will convene and release our bracketology episode. But aside from that, sort of, I won't be on the Stardom Cast or the Marigold Standard till start of March. So there we go. But ladies and gentlemen, that does bring to an end this episode of the Marigold Standard. Thank you so much for listening and for watching. We massively appreciate all of the support that you give to us. You can subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already on any of the podcast platforms. Leave us a 5-star review and a comment if you think that we've deserved it. It really helps us out, and it's a completely free way to support the podcast. Patreon.com/World of Joshi, where you can get all of these episodes ad-free for as little as $1 a month, as well as an absolute boatload of bonus content courtesy of the person sitting below me on the YouTube screen. You can find us on social media, WOJ Wrestling. WOJ Wrestling. WOJ Wrestling is the social media handle. You can find us at worldofjoshi.com as well. Talk to me on Twitter at Real Rob Goodwin. Mr. Matt Turner. Sounds off, good sir.
Folks, questions, comments, suggestions, anything you need from me, Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and the Twitter is the easiest, fastest, and best way to get a hold of me. Or guys, you can shoot me an email. The main email, the business email, if you will, is matt@worldofjoshi.com. Or you can use the old one because the classics never die. That is the StardomCast22@gmail.com. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for another episode of the Marigold Standard. We greatly appreciate your support. Can't do without you. It's like I always say, it's just not my podcast. It's our podcast. Because when we're all together, everybody's different. Everybody's special.